Okay, hello, welcome back, or thank you for joining, whatever it may be. Um, I am back 2 weeks later. Last week my son got sick, so I didn't get to film, and the week prior, the day I did plan to film, he didn't nap, so it just didn't work out, but that's okay, because I'm back. Today is a day. I'm in a bit of a funk, feeling a little depressive mood and high anxiety. So I wasn't going to film, but I knew if I did not, I would regret not doing it. So we're gonna push through. It's like a fall feeling kind of day outside today, and it's June. We're not gonna have many of these, so gonna just make the most of it. If not feeling great, but put on a comfy sweater, and I have my cup of coffee and some water to keep up with the hydration too. So we're just gonna make it work and film, and we won't regret that we did this, and it'll be good. So just a reminder, I will be talking a little bit quieter in these videos because my son is napping when I film them. If it is an issue, please let me know, whether it's on Facebook, a comment on YouTube, Instagram, anything. Just so if I have to, I'll get like a mic or something. But I can talk probably a little bit louder, but I prefer not to. Like I said in previous videos, sound travels easily in our house. So sometimes you can get away with talking normal, other times it depends how deep of a sleep he's in. Nap time is hit or miss. So like I said, 2 weeks ago he just didn't nap. It was just one of those days. So it's hit or miss. Today he can nap for an hour, and then I could nap for 3 hours. So not gonna take my chances. I have a guest with me today. I'm watching my mom's dog for her. So it's been a little bit more chaotic, so I also have to consider my volume to try to keep the dogs chilled out for now. But that's okay. So today, last video I did a total rundown of everything that happened start to the end of treatment. But I didn't go like super detailed. I said that would be branched off into separate videos, just so I could talk a little bit more, that rather than leading up to it. So today I want to talk about, I think I'm just gonna cover the start of things that I did notice initially. Not necessarily that I thought or suspected was the postpartum depression, but things I kind of noticed were a little abnormal, but I wasn't entirely sure if it was postpartum depression or if it was just being a new mom. Okay, so let's just get started. So as I mentioned, my son was born June of 2022. He'll be 2 this month. Winston. Hey. Okay. He was born June 2022. And I think everything was kind of normal for a little while. One thing I did notice initially was he started sleeping in his crib very quickly. He did not like his bassinet. He did sleep in bed with us for about a week. We had him in one of those little like dock-a-tot things. I know co-sleeping is very controversial. We had to do what we had to do, made it work, but even then it didn't end up working for us. It made both of us too nervous. Our dogs sleep in the same bed too, so we were both worried, like if either one of us were to roll, if he were to roll, the dogs, anything. So we started trying to do that, transition from that to the bassinet. He was not sleeping good in the bassinet. It didn't last very long. So then we tried the pack and play. Wasn't huge on that, and just took a chance on the crib, and he ended up sleeping really good on the crib. So that's why I'm explaining how this led to where I'm going with this. So he did well in the crib. Our room was upstairs. So obviously we needed a monitor so that I could hear him and everything. And the monitor, I had a really strange anxiety around the monitor. And okay, so I still get monitor anxiety. And I can't compare the two because it's a very different kind of anxiety. I think if you have monitor anxiety, you probably understand. Otherwise, you have no clue what I'm talking about. And it sounds so stupid. But the monitor anxiety I had, it was the most bizarre feeling. The minute I heard any sort of static or anything, my heart rate went from like this to this. And I got hot and my ears would ring, like normal like signals my body would give me when I would, and still do, like signals when I'm about to spiral into an anxiety attack. And this wasn't even when he would cry for me to get up. And he typically was, as a newborn, getting up almost every 2 hours on the dot. Like at first I was tracking everything just to make sure I knew how much he was peeing. I don't remember what the app was. But I would set the timer. Okay, he started to sleep now. And so when he would wake up, I would check the timer. Okay, he was up, and average it was like an hour and 50 minutes. And he wouldn't even hit that hour and 50-minute mark. It would just be like a quick little like fuss or their little sound that they make in there, like when they're sleeping. And that anxiety went through the roof, and it was just, I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like, is this normal? Is this just because I'm a new mom? I'm like worried if something happened to him or whatever. It just, there was a part of me, everyone says listen to your gut feeling, and I should have in that like situation done that. It was that feeling where I was like, okay, maybe this is being a new mom. It's just a feeling. That's just how you are as a parent. But in, like, I had that gut feeling like this isn't like a normal type of anxiety. This wasn't just a new mom anxiety. This is a abnormal, the level of anxiety wasn't normal, I guess is what I should say. So that was really strange. Another thing too was obviously like baby blues. You hear about that all the time. Your hormones are all over the place. You're exhausted. You're running on fumes, especially if you are the, I hate the term default parent, but the default parent where you are the one getting up at night. You're the one taking care of them all day. Not to say that the parent who's at work and everything doesn't do anything, but it is a different type of tired when you are the one taking care of the baby. Getting up every couple hours while the other partner is the one, their sleep schedule really hasn't changed. So you're sleep deprived. So that is a big change than what you're used to. Especially too, like you're not a night owl or anything, or you don't do night shifts. Like that's probably a huge shock to your system. So sleep deprivation, hormonal changes, life changes, everything. You're going through baby blues, like that, you're warned about that ahead of time. Everyone tells you about it when you're pregnant. You see about it online, okay. But it's supposed to get better. I felt worse as time was going on. I felt like, I don't want to say like the whole like, oh, I was thriving after having my baby. I thought I was doing pretty good after he was born, considering everything, like considering the life change. But as days or weeks or whatever went on, I felt myself getting sadder. Like it was really weird. I remember sitting in my living room, like literally where I'm sitting right now, and I felt so disconnected from the world. I remember it would be like 90 degrees outside, and the one day, I can still remember this clear as day, and I like core memory kind of thing. It was 90 degrees out. Like, I should have my air on and everything, and that's it. I had Virgin River on. I was sitting in my recliner with him, feeding him and everything. Instead of having the air on, I had a fan going just so that I could have the windows open so that I can still feel some kind of connection to the outside world. I could hear people outside, like, and know, like, life was going on. Like, it was weird. Like, I felt like I was starting to have a disconnect from life, and I don't want to hide emotion, because I do want everyone to know, like, this is real, but I also want to hold it together enough to be able to talk. But that was really weird to me. Like, I did not feel that way when he was first born. Like, that first week, like, when my partner went back to work, when he was back, like, I didn't feel that way. Granted, like, my mom comes over a lot. I see her a few days a week minimum, whether when she's working or on break or whatever. My brother would come over, my dad stopped over, my aunt was in town, they stopped over, like, and that wasn't overwhelming to me because it still was minimal. So it wasn't like a overwhelm of people or a lack of people or anything. But I remember thinking, like, this is weird. Like, don't get me, like, I like light in my house and everything, so, but I don't feel disconnected from the world in the winter when the, like, windows are closed up, or I didn't feel that way right after he was born. Like, I didn't feel disconnected from the world because the windows were shut. Like, I didn't feel like I was so desperate for some kind of, like, life. Like, it was weird. Like, looking back on it, I'm like, I wonder if that was a flag. Like, you are starting to feel a disconnect from your own life. I don't understand it to this day, but that was, like, looking back on it, like, I think that was like a red flag, that wasn't normal. And this was all before, like, that 6-week appointment. So that was a really strange shift, and I felt sad if I didn't have that connection. So that was where, like, the sadness and stuff, like, in very strange ways was changing from pretty normal, like, weepiness to very strange things that were triggering in sadness. Looking back on it too, some of my behaviors were getting a little bizarre. I went from being kind of like, okay, like, I want my house still somewhat in order, which that's, I'm sure, normal. Your first one, you kind of want to keep some kind of normal. But it was like, okay, I want my dishes put away. Like, I want to keep these bottle parts clean and the pump parts going and all that kind of stuff. Fold up my blankets, like, keep the couches tidy, that kind of thing. I went from, like, that kind of thing to, it would be 2 a.m. after laying him back down, after pumping, come down here to wash my pump parts, wash his bottle, or put the bottle back away of what was left. And instead of going back upstairs and going back to sleep like anyone else would because you're exhausted, clear as day, I walked into our spare bedroom and I just started cleaning and organizing and going to town organizing, like, throwing stuff away and, like, putting stuff, like, separating into, like, different areas of a room of how things should be, like, put into bins, when, like, I'm like, I need to get bins and separate, like, this and this and this, and, like, very weird, like, things I shouldn't have been focused on or obsessing about, things I wouldn't have cared about that first, like, week, 2 weeks. I don't even know how to time that out, but it was really, really weird. So that was another thing that I think was like a signal that part of me knew, okay, this is not normal behavior, but another part of me was like, well, maybe it is. Other weird things, again, I don't know if this is normal. I don't, because some of this stuff I didn't even bring up during treatment, during therapy, anything, was wanting specific people. So let me explain. Obviously, like, you want your mom and everything, like, that's, I've heard a lot of women say, like, I want my mom after having my baby. Get that. My brother would come over and I wanted to cry. Like, when he left, I didn't want my brother to leave. My little brother, who doesn't have children, who's 5 years younger than me, who, I mean, he's great with my son. He's loved him and everything. Newborn stage wasn't his thing. Like, he wouldn't have been able to help. Like, it's not like it was like, oh, can you help me with the baby or anything like that. Like, I didn't, again, it was like a weird, like, longing for human connection, and I don't know why. That was really weird. My sister came over to meet my son, and she brought my niece and nephew, and when she was over, I wanted to cry when she left. Like, I love my sister. We aren't like super close, like, we didn't grow up in the same household or anything, and she's 5 years older than me, like, so we weren't super close based on like those two things. Like, now it would be different because we're kind of within the same, like we're both adults now, so it's different, but like, it was weird. Like, I was like, I want my sister, I don't want her to leave, I want her to come back, I want her to stay here. Like, weird, like, really weird stuff. Like, I don't understand what that's about. I don't know. I wish I did bring this stuff up in therapy and ask about it, but I never did. So now I'm kind of curious. But it was really weird, like, wanting people. I don't know if it was like a safety, like feeling safe kind of thing. I don't know if it was a distraction. I don't know what it was, but looking back on it, I'm like, that was really strange. I mean, even now, like, I love when I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. I love seeing all them, but I don't feel like I'm like, I need you guys with me. I need you to stay with me. I need you, like, not that I don't need them, but like, I don't need you guys to be here and help me take care of my baby. Like, I can take care of my child by myself. Like, I do it all day. Like, I don't need you guys to live with me. I don't need you guys as my, like, emotional safety net or anything like that. Or, like, just, it was really, like, it was another really strange thing. It's another big thing that I noticed at that time, was just feeling like I was in this fog. And like I know you're tired. You feel like you're in a daze when you're tired and everything. And it's a different type of tired than like a day-to-day tired or anything. But this fog felt very different as time was going on. And there was, like, by the time I had my 6-week appointment, not that he was sleeping like great still or anything. He was still a newborn. He's still 18 and everything. I don't know what that was. Not that he was like one of those newborns that, like, you hear moms like, oh, my baby slept right away. He was not one of those babies. Even as a formula baby, he was not one of those babies. He just wasn't. But like, he was sleeping better. Like, what was that hour and 50-minute stretch turned into the 2.5 hour stretch or whatever. Like, and I still remember one time he slept 4 hours, and oh my gosh, like, I woke up, I was like, holy moly, he slept. Like, felt like that's like refreshing after getting hour and a half increments of sleep and actually less than that, because you're pumping and everything. By the time you go back to, you're getting even less than that. So you're in a fog. But back on track. They're sleeping longer stretches, not huge stretches, but longer as the weeks go on. Your fog should be changing. It's not to say you're not going to be in a fog, but it might not be as intense as it is that first week, 2 weeks, whatever. My fog was getting worse. Like, I felt like I was living in this weird daze. I felt like something was pulling me down. I felt so, it felt like my body was here, but I was not. And that got worse with time. It literally, once August hit, it was like I was gone. I was done. I felt like I was drowning. I don't know how to explain it enough, because I think it's one of those things that you don't fully get unless you've been through it. But I did. I felt like, it's weird. It's like, it was like it's like I could stand outside of myself almost. Like, I could watch myself physically. I'm here, but I wasn't here. Like, it got worse with time rather than improving. Baby blues, worse with time rather than improving. The fog, worse with time rather than improving. Wanting human connection, worse with time. Everything rather than progressing was regressing. Those were signals definitely that I noticed at the time were off. But like I said, I was a new mom. I didn't think anything of it. I did think that was off, but I thought that was just being a new parent. Especially as a stay-at-home parent, especially as somebody who had a history of anxiety, mild depression. I just thought it is what it is. And then come my 6-week appointment, I mentioned this. Maybe I should have gone into more detail, I don't know. But it was that's just being a new mom. You're gonna worry about your baby. You're gonna get anxiety with them sleeping. You're gonna want to check on them and make sure they're breathing all the time. Like, that's just how moms are, like that kind of thing. So we're gonna prescribe you some meds. Like, and that's not to blame my doctor or anything. Like, I probably didn't say in detail enough, or I don't know. I was in a fog there. I don't even remember the full, like, I don't remember if I don't think I told her about like the weird, like, needing to open the windows to hear people outside and feel like that kind of gives me something, like, but you did hear a lot, like, oh, that's baby blues. We had a family party because my cousin was visiting from out of the country, and I don't know what I said or something, but I started crying and everything. And one of my aunts walked up to me and she's like, oh, that's the baby blues. That's how it goes, yada yada. I was just kind of like, okay, I guess that's just how it is. Like, yeah. And like, this isn't to say that if you're experiencing some of like sadness or kind of like obsessing about like cleanliness or nervousness about them sleeping in their crib or bassinet or whatever, or feeling like you need people around you, that's not to say that means like you're gonna get postpartum depression and like end up in like the hole that I did. But if there is any part of you that is saying like, I don't think this is normal, push your doctor and say, I don't think this is being a new mom. Something is telling me that this is something more serious. Or have someone come with you and say something, like have a parent, your partner, whoever, like have them speak up and say like, hey, like I'm noticing these behaviors from her and it just seems a little excessive, and ask for something, ask for like, have them ask for a checklist of different symptoms and have them really pay attention, or write down each day what you're feeling. Like if you catch yourself having these weird thoughts, write it down, or message your doctor each day and say like, hey, this thought came up, or hey, this weird behavior came up, or whatever. Like have it documented so that they can see how often that this is happening, so that they could kind of be like, okay, like maybe this isn't normal, maybe this isn't new mom stuff, because it very well could just be like baby blues. And even if it is just baby blues, you can still get some meds for that and help, or figure out what works. Maybe for you, all you need is going on a walk, or going to the gym, or going and getting a coffee and having like that 10-minute break from baby, having your partner stay with the baby while you just go and stop and get some lunch and coffee by yourself. Whatever it may be, like if that's all it takes, if it's not super serious of a situation but you still need that time, then do that. But if it is starting to lead to a road where it is serious, it needs to start being dealt with sooner rather than later. I wish I had made a list about all the symptoms of postpartum depression to go over, and postpartum anxiety and postpartum psychosis. I wish I had made a list to talk about in this video. Maybe my next video I'm gonna do like a whole topic on that, what to look for and everything before I go further into detail, because I think that would be super important to cover. Darn, I wish I had done that for this. That's okay. Like I said, we're just gonna go with it, go along with this. We'll get better with time. So I can't remember where I was. That's okay. But yeah, make sure if you're noticing behaviors, partners, family, friends, anything, like let the moms know that there's something that seems off. It could really prevent some problems long term. Not to sound morbid, but it could save a life. It could save multiple lives long term. There's some devastating outcomes, for not only mom in some cases, but also for children involved in some cases, unfortunately. So it's definitely important to be aware of what is going on with mom. It's not taken seriously enough. It's not talked about enough. This isn't a mom issue. This isn't a family issue. This is definitely just the topic of maternal mental health. Something needs to be done with it. Another thing I'm going to mention too in my next video is, like I said, the next video I'm going to focus on symptoms of postpartum depression. I think I'm going to either see if any hospitals have released a checklist of symptoms to watch for. My neighbors just got see if any have any like checklists that they have, like public at least, that I would be able to download, that you can have for your partner, and I'll share that in a link or something, that you should watch for. But I'm definitely going to cover the symptoms for postpartum depression, anxiety, psychosis. But I'm also going to mention things that my mom noticed. My mom noticed, I think, more than anybody did. So I'm gonna ask her. She's on vacation right now, so I'll have to get in contact with her whenever she has a free moment. She's gonna be super busy. But she definitely would have some kind of input to give on things she was noticing that seemed a little bit off before everything kind of went down the tubes. Not to laugh or smile or anything about that, but it is what it is. That's how it went. Everything kind of went down the tubes at one point. So I think that will be a good video to sneak on in before we continue. And really, if I can get that checklist, if you are pregnant, if you know somebody who's pregnant, if you're just curious, if you're a partner of somebody who just had a baby, whatever, print that list if I can get it. I'm really gonna see if I can get it. I'm gonna see if my OB's office has one now, or if not them, then definitely the hospital system that ultimately is what saved me. I think if anybody would have one, it would be them. I would like to apologize. I feel like I was very spacey in this video, kind of all over the place, doing the clicking on my cup a lot, kind of eyes all over the place, that kind of thing. Like I said, I'm in a little bit of a funk today. But talking actually is helping a little bit. I have these days sometimes. It is what it is. Like, just gotta check through. Getting outside with my son definitely helps. Other than that, we just gotta push through and hope tomorrow is a better day. That's okay. I'll definitely be a little bit better when he wakes up again, because I'll have him to keep me going, and that'll be good. But talking to you guys helped a little bit, so thank you. And I hope you guys took something from this, and if not taking something from just my story, then like I said, please make sure you take this to heart with somebody that you know. Really, like, people I went to school with, there's quite a few that are pregnant right now. If any of you are watching, or anybody that's friends with anybody that's watching, watch for these things with them. And even if you think it's harsh to tell them, if you notice these things, tell them, like, or tell their partner or something. It could save so much long-term hurt and struggle and pain and everything. So if you take nothing else from this video, take that, please. But yes, I want to again thank you guys for being here, taking the time to watch this. If you can, please give this a thumbs up, subscribe, share it if you're interested or care to. Follow on Instagram, like the Facebook page, all the good stuff. There's plenty you can do to help support, and we just gotta get talking about this stuff because it is not talked about enough. You'll actually see at one point in a video what I mean by how there is some stigma around this issue. That'll actually be a fun video to talk about, though. I'm looking forward to sharing about that one. But I will talk to you guys next time, and again, thank you for being here. It's Friday today. I'll probably share this on Monday, so by the time you watch this, I hope you have a good beginning of your week, and that following weekend, have a good weekend. And June is here, so happy summer also. All right, thank you.